Today's meeting of the Dissertation Council established for awarding the degree of
Золотой келіндер, мама, жасап қойды міне, келіндер.
in the educational programs 60211300 8D02 303 linguistics 602100 8D02 306 foreign philology 8D01 705 foreign language 2 foreign languages 6D0208 00 700 6 8D02 3 Arabic as a The Dissertation Council consists of 9 members. All 9 members are present at the meeting. The chair of the Dissertation Council is Doctor of Philological Science, Professor Gulmira Banjana Madiyeva. The academic secretary of the Dissertation Council is PhD, Associate Professor Kamar Sagingavina Aldasheva. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, dear participants, let me announce the members of the Dissertation Council present at this meeting. Gulmira Madiyeva, Chair, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor. Albina Dusanova, Deputy Chair, PhD, Associate Professor. Kamar Aldasheva, Academic Secretary, PhD, Associate Professor. Anar Fazılcan, Candidate of Philological Sciences, Associate Professor, Director of the Ahmet Baytursunoğlu Institute of Linguistics. Holders of qualification in the educational program 6D021000 Foreign Philology are present. Today, temporary members of the Dissertation Council are attending the defense of Jania Әбдиман, who has submitted her dissertation for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the specialty 6D021000 Foreign Philology on the topic Inaugural Address as part of political discourse. The temporary members of the Dissertation Council are Aydan Igratoglu, PhD, Associate Professor, Hacı Bayram Veli University, Ankara, Turkey. Aygul Amirbekova, Candidate of Philological Sciences, Associate Professor, Ahmet Baytursunoğlu Institute of Linguistics, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Gulmira Muhamedjanova, PhD, Associate Professor, Manas Kozubayev, North Kazakhstan University, Petropavl, Kazakhstan. I declare the meeting of the Dissertation Council open. According to the attendance sheet, all members of the Dissertation Council are present at today's meeting. There is sufficient quorum to open the meeting. Are there any objections?
No, no objection.
No, thank you. On today's agenda is the public defense of the dissertation submitted by Jania Әбдиман for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the specialty 6D021000 Foreign Language Philology on the topic Inaugural Address as part of political discourse. The dissertation was completed at the Department of Foreign Philology and Translation Studies of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. Domestic and scientific advisors, Jansi Tumibayev, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Eleonora Sulmenova, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Foreign scientific advisor, Maria Lekic, PhD, professor, Washington, USA. Official reviews, Aybarsha Islam, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor, Kazakh and Ablai Khan University of International Relations and World Languages, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Udanay Maksutовna Bakhtigireva, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor, People's Friendship University of Russia, Moscow, Russian Federation. The dissertation is being submitted for defense for the first time. All required documents related to the dissertation have been published on the official website of the Dissertation Council. All members of the Dissertation Council with the relevant materials on the dissertation at their disposal. The defense is being conducted in a live online broadcast format via the internet. When the Dissertation Council holds a meeting in the form of a video conference, the following procedures and are ensured. Visual identification of all participants, uninterrupted video and audio transmission of participants' speeches via the internet, video and audio recording of the meeting, confidential secret voting by the members of Dissertation Council, participants of the official reviews and temporary members of the Dissertation Council in the defense is mandatory. As a recommendation regarding the agenda? No? No. Thank you. If there is no any, I will put the approval of the agenda to the vote. Who is against? Who abstains? Who is in favor? Who is in favor? Okay. The agenda is approved by consensus. Now, I give the floor of to the academic secretary of the Dissertation Council, PhD, Associate Professor Kamar Aldasheva, to present the candidate's biographical information and documents from the personal file.
Dear members of the Dissertation Council, the documents of the candidate Әбдиман және Omikhafize registered with the Dissertation Council as follows. First, the candidate's application for admission to the dissertation defense was approved by the Dissertation Council on May 28, 2025, and recorded in the register's journal. The dissertation bound and on the electronic medium. Next, information about the doctoral student. Әбдиман және Omikhafize, nationality Kazakh, born on December 10, 1988 in Almaty. In 2010, she graduated from Süleyman Demirel University with a bachelor's degree into foreign languages, and in 2013, she graduated from Al-Farabi National University with a master's degree in foreign philology. From 2014 to 2018, she completed the professional curriculum of doctoral studies at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University under the education program 60-021-000 foreign philology. She began her career at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University in 2012, where she currently serves as deputy and director of International Cooperation Department. The next, a copy of the transcript of the professional curriculum approved by the educational institution. The next, review of local and foreign scientific advisors. And a copy of the visit sheet and the minutes from the extended meeting of the Department of Foreign Philology and Translation Studies at KASNO, whereas the proposal for the defense and a positive conclusion were approved by the Vice Director for Science and Innovation of Al-Farabi KASNO. The next reviews of official reviews. The next certificate from the National Center of Scientific and Technical Information. And this certificate of submission of the dissertation and its annotation to the Library of KASNO. 10th, a copy of the minutes of the meeting of the Academic Council KASNO on the approval dissertation topic and the scientific advisors. The last list of scientific publications signed by the Scientific Secretary of the Faculty of Philology of the Kazakh National University and their copies. The documents submitted by candidate Әбдиман fully meet the requirements of the rules for awarding degrees of the Committee for Quality Assurance and in the field of science and higher education of the Ministry of Science and Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Thank you.
Thank you, Marsa Gingaliyeva. Dear colleagues, do you have any questions for the academic secretary?
No questions.
No question. Thank you. The floor is given to the doctoral candidate, Rania Әбдиман, to present the content of your dissertation research. Rania, the time limit 10? Oh, 15, 20 minutes.
That's enough.
Good morning, esteemed members of the Facilitation Council. It is an honor for me today to present the results of our research conducted under the guidance of my scientific supervisors, Professor Eleonora Sulinyanova, Professor Jansi Tsumebaev, and Professor Maria Lekic. Today, I will briefly present the aim, methodology, key findings, and conclusions of my dissertation, which explores the inaugural address as a distinct and symbolic part of political discourse, focusing on a comparative analysis of speeches by the presidents of the United States and Kazakhstan. This research presents the first attempt in domestic linguistics to analyze the inaugural address as a representative and typical part of political discourse. To achieve this aim, the work is structured around 3 blocks of objectives. The first is to examine the conceptual and methodological foundation of political discourse in contemporary and international linguistic studies, and to define the characteristics, features, and genre diversity. Second, to explore the historical and contextual, the context of inauguration ceremony in the United States and in the Republic of Kazakhstan. Third, to conduct a comprehensive functional analysis of the inaugural addresses delivered by the presidents of both countries, to examine their structure, stylistic choices, and rhetorical strategies used to fulfill the communicative purposes of these speeches. The analysis was based on 16 inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States and Kazakhstan, delivered between 1991 and 2025. It includes 9 inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States, starting from Bill Clinton in 1993 to the last inaugural address of President Donald Trump, which was delivered in 2025. And 7 inaugural addresses of the presidents of Kazakhstan, starting with the inaugural address of Nursultan Nazarbayev in 1991 to 2025, and 2 addresses of Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, of acting president, in 2019 and 2022. The texts of the inaugural addresses were retrieved, inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States were retrieved from the American Presidency Project website, which is a database of presidential documents of the United States, whereas the inaugural address, the text of the inaugural addresses of the President of Kazakhstan were retrieved from official website, Ahorda.kz. Unfortunately, due to the fact that the first three inaugural addresses of the President Nazarbayev were not available on the public domain, they were sourced from the compilation of his selected speeches. The methods and techniques used for data collection and analysis include discourse analysis, comparative analysis, supplemented by observation, comparison, interpretation, generalization, modeling, and quantitative analysis techniques. The structure of the thesis consists of an introduction, 4 sections, and a conclusion. Chapter 1, in section 1, we define key concepts as discourse, political discourse, inaugural address, and outline the constitutional features of inaugural addresses and explore the inauguration ceremony. Chapter 2-3 are focused on the structural features of the US and Kazakhstani inaugural addresses, respectively. Chapter 4 provides a functional and genre-based comparison by interpreting inaugural addresses as a distinct political genre. The conclusion encapsulates the study's findings, main conclusions, and evaluates the potential for further exploration of the subject. Now I would like to present the main provisions that are being submitted for defense. The first provision establishes that inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States and the Republic of Kazakhstan fulfill all 4 traditionally distinguished functions of inaugural addresses as a unique genre of political discourse. The first function, integrative, unites the nation around common goals. Inspirational function strengthens national values and emphasizes historical achievements. Declarative function outlines the policy and priorities of the new administration. The performative function officially announces and confirms transfer of power. However, within these parameters, the inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States and the Republic of Kazakhstan differ in various functional topoi. The second provision confirms that inaugural addresses are often classified as political performatives. Analyzing the inaugural addresses of the presidents of both countries allows us to join the judgment of scholars who support this view. This is backed up by the key characteristics of inaugural addresses as a genre of political discourse confirmed in the study. An appeal to the people's history as the source of traditional values, an appeal to the national unity, which legitimizes the president, the elected president, and the declaration of political principles of the country. Inaugural addresses employ various rhetorical devices, primarily metaphors, parallelisms, antithesis, and repetition, which enhance the ritualistic nature of this genre. These stylistic devices reinforce key ideological statements, making inaugural addresses more memorable and persuasive. Simultaneously, the audience's attention is drawn to the performative act of delivering the inaugural address, as it symbolizes a unique political moment that proclaims the speaker as the president of the country. The third provision highlights the president's use of distinct style of speech that incorporates various expressive linguistic means to enhance their impact on the audience. The language of inaugural addresses plays a key role in shaping the public perception. For example, the frequently used pronoun we, which emphasizes national unity, serves different functional purposes in the inaugural addresses. In the addresses of the US presidents, it is used inclusively, addressing the entire nation, whereas in Kazakhstani speeches, it is used more often, highlighting the collective responsibility of the people. The first provision identifies the differences in political and social systems, as well as culture, traditions, and worldview, have resulted in significant distinctions between American and Kazakh inaugural addresses as a genre of political discourse. In contrast with all inaugural addresses of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, elections are seen as an act of unity for the nation, which elected the President to the highest office in the country, supported his campaign against the other candidates, and on the day of inauguration stands united as a witness to his inauguration. Secondly, a distinctive feature of the inaugural addresses of the two countries is the use of religious symbols. This is vividly and consistently expressed in the inaugural addresses of the US presidents. However, there are no reference to religious symbols, God or holy books in the inaugural addresses of the presidents of Kazakhstan. The analysis of the inaugural addresses has drawn us to the following conclusions. The study confirms that inaugural addresses is a key and symbolic element of political discourse, serving as the ideological foundation for fostering national unity at a new stage of the nation's development, embodying moral, ethical, and cultural values alongside political principles that guide the new leader's domestic and foreign policy. All four key functions, integrative, inspirational, declarative, and performative, are fulfilled in both US and Kazakhstani inaugural addresses. The structure of the inaugural addresses generally follows a three-part model: introduction, main body, and conclusion, but with different organizational patterns. For instance, in Kazakhstani inaugural addresses, presidents use radial or chain structure centered around one national idea, whereas the US presidents often use contrastive or dichotomic structure, linking past struggles with the future goals. The language used in these speeches plays a key role in shaping public opinion. In both traditions, pronouns use reflective political strategy. The pronoun we is widely used to promote national unity, while I presents individual responsibility of the president. In the inaugural addresses of the US presidents, from Bill Clinton to Trump's first inaugural address, we see that the use of first person singular has decreased, which can be said as a shift from a more individual to a collective governance style. However, both Joe Biden and Donald Trump's final inaugural addresses show a noticeable return to first-person singular forms. Rhetorical devices such as metaphors, antithesis, repetition, and parallelism are used in both countries to enhance persuasion and ideological messaging. The inaugural addresses is shown to be a ritualized communicative act, rich in symbolic meaning and firmly embedded in each country's political tradition. Its delivery marks a constitutional transfer of power in a ritual setting that is rich in national symbols like constitution, national anthem, the flag, and so on. Studying the ceremonial aspect and finally, the genre of inaugural address, while not being thoroughly studied within the broader context of political discourse in Kazakhstan, plays a significant role in epidictic rhetoric and ceremonial political language. However, due to cultural tradition, ideological, and systemic differences, the study reveals several key distinctions between the American and Kazakhstani inaugural addresses. The first one is the language of delivery. Kazakhstani inaugural addresses, as well as other speeches of the political elite, are delivered both in Kazakh and Russian languages, reflecting the country's bilingual political context. The elections in Kazakhstani inaugural addresses are portrayed as a moment of national unity, where the people rally around the elected leader. In contrast to the US inaugural addresses, where it is not actually mentioned, but the American president emphasized the electoral unity in the victory speeches on the day of announcing the results of the election. Thirdly, the use of religious imagery. Religious references are consistent, featured in the US inaugural addresses, often invoking God, the Bible, or the holy guidance. By contrast, Kazakhstani inaugural addresses are largely secular, drawing instead on traditional proverbs and aphorisms. A notable exception was the President Tokayev's 2022 address, which included a rare direct reference to Islam, mentioning Mecca, the prayer, and Holy Quran. The fourth is the ideological narratives. While the functions of the inaugural addresses are common, their relative emphasis differ. Kazakh presidents focus on stability, national unity, and economic reforms, whereas US presidents prioritize democracy, continuity, and unity. And in conclusion, this research confirms that the inaugural address is not a mere ceremonial speech, but a powerful rhetorical tool that reflects nations' political, cultural, and ideological foundations. By analyzing and comparing the inaugural addresses of the US and Kazakhstani presidents, the study contributes to a deeper understanding of political discourse as a genre and introduces new material into the field of Kazakhstani political linguistics. The findings may serve as the foundation for future interdisciplinary research, also in the political discourse, modern rhetoric, discourse analysis, the theory and practice of intercultural communication, as well as political communication and journalism. And of course, in the development of practical guidance for speechwriters, political strategies, and press services. And I would like to sincerely thank the Dissertation Council, my supervisors, and everyone present here today for your time, attention, and academic engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. The presentation has been concluded. Thank you, Zhenya Umarhan. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, please feel free to ask questions for the candidate. What questions? Dear colleagues, сізде бар ма?
Мен қазақша.
Қазақша бола берсін, сіз не аударып.
Қазақстан және ағылшын оқыту сөздеріндегі айырмашылықтар діни символиканың қолданысы деп бергенсіз, иә? Себебі неде? Біздің Қазақстан діни мәселелерді ұлықтауда мүлдем қозғамайды екен, ал Америка Құрама Штаттарының президенттері діни мәселелерді айтады екен ұлықтауда. Сол себебі неде анықтадыңыз ба?
Сұрақты қойған Айгүл Амирбекова, биология ғылымдарының кандидаты, тіл білімі институты.
Question is, you've considered in your dissertation the issues related to the religious aspect and the differences and discrepancies between Kazakhstani and the United States of American inaugural speeches. So she wants to know what is the reason of considering this very issue.
Thank you very much for your question. Indeed, it is a very interesting issue. I believe that, well, in general, religion is an integral part of political tradition in the United States, where mostly it is regarded as the legitimizing the president. In all of the speeches, we see that the president starts his speech by thanking the God or referencing the God or holy guidance. And in the end of the speeches, we also see that they always, in any kind of political speech, they use God bless America, God bless the people of America. So this is the reason why we say that the religious imagery is consistent in political discourse, in political presidential speeches of the United States. Whereas in Kazakhstan, political speeches or inaugural addresses in particular, we don't see the references to God or the Holy Book. The exception was only the last inaugural address of President Tokayev, where he mentions that when he visited Mecca, he went to Kaaba and he made a prayer for the people of Kazakhstan.
Thank you.
Екінші сұрақ бар. Екінші сұрақ, ұлықтау сөзінен қатар бейвербалды амалдар жүре ме? жест, мимика, олар салыстырылды ма, және ұлықтау рәсімдері ұқсастық бар ма?
Okay, have you regarded in your thesis, dissertation thesis, the aspects of non-verbal means of, yeah, together with non-verbal speech?
Thank you very much again for your question. Unfortunately, in this dissertation, we haven't looked at the non-verbal communication of the presidents, but for the future, for the future research, we will definitely look into this issue.
Бейвербалдыны қарастырмаған, бірақ болашақта қарастыруға.
Ұлықтау рәсімінде айырмашылық бар ма дейміз. Ұлықтау рәсімі
Қол қойып тұратын сондай
Yes, there are a lot of differences in the ceremony of inauguration as well. For instance, the first, and of course, there are differences and similarities as well. The first is the president is announced and he enters the room. After that, there is an oath that the president takes. This is the similarity. But the president of Kazakhstan, they put their right hand on the constitution, and the presidents of the United States put their right hand on the Bible. So again, it's the evidence of religious imagery being an integral part of political communication and political traditions of the United States. But in the end, there are differences as well. After the inaugural address, the president, for instance, in Kazakhstan inauguration ceremony, goes to the national flag, kisses the flag, and he is being given standard of the president, and he leaves the room. Whereas in American political traditions, there is no ceremony like kissing the flag or anything. There is no national anthem.
Next round, Мейрамгүл Нәзір. Саяси дискурс ұғымдарының бірі бұл легитизм ұғымы. Осы ұғымды сіз өзіңіздің жұмысыңызда қолдандыңыз ба? Қолдансаңыз, қай дәрежеде қолдандыңыз? Do you use the concept of legitimacy in your research work?
In one of the functions of inaugural addresses that they have performance function and declarative function are the key concepts that gives us understanding of the legitimacy or legitimizing the president. In general, the ceremony of inauguration and the delivering the inaugural address is the moment when the president is legitimized, is given the power of the president. So as the concept of legitimacy is closely connected to the inaugural address, to the genre of inaugural address.
Оның бір символдық бір элемент бола алады ғой, иә?
Yes, of course, it can be considered as
ұлықтау сөзі бір символдық
inaugural address.
Yes. Translate. So, is it considered as a symbolic aspect also inaugural speech?
Yes, inaugural speech is a ceremonial moment when the elected president is given the power, is legitimized as the president.
Thank you. Next questions?
Dear members, dear Әбдиман, so I have a question. It's close to Professor Mirbekova question. So the first provision, page 11. So you've said, despite the common features of the performance of the functions differ, the presidents of the United States emphasize democratic values and historical continuity, while the presidents of the Republic of Kazakhstan focus on stability, traditions, and national unity. So all members know that it happened that after finishing review, So a reviewer keep thinking about the content of the dissertation work. And that is why I have a question now. Why such a difference? You couldn't write about it in this dissertation paper. Why didn't you expand on the first provision and explain why the content of the inaugural addresses of the two countries, different countries?
Thank you very much for the question, Madam Maksutovna. Indeed, it is a very interesting question. And it is a broad side of my research. Of course, as you, I've been thinking of why didn't we consider the differences more in our dissertation, but our first goal was to look at the texts of the inaugural addresses. So for further discussions and for further research, I think we will definitely look at the cultural differences of the inaugural addresses of the presidents of both countries.
Oh, thank you. Your answer is the very answer of mine. So I believe that this entertaining, interesting scientific problem is the problem for next future postgraduates. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Of course, Georgia's dissertation is very important and very interesting for us. I have 3 questions. The first of all is also based with my colleague's question. Yeah, it's about you have given us for the scientific, specific features of inaugural speech of both of presidents. Yeah, and my question about the specific particularities of structural particularities of this speech, because on your dissertation on page 55 and 80, there are given 2 tables, 10 and 13, I guess. Can you say about the main features of differences in the voice of speech in this? And of course, there's a second one. And what do you think? Can inaugural speech in the future under the influence of maybe changing formats of other aspects can be changed inaugural speech in the future? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. So the main structural differences between the inaugural addresses of the United States and Kazakhstan are that, for example, the introduction part in the American inaugural addresses consists of 2 main topoi, which is a salutation and denoting the transfer of power. In Kazakhstani inaugural addresses, it is the same, the salutation and denoting the transfer of power. However, if to look deeper, we see that the inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States have greeting of the audience. For example, if the speech is given for the second term by the president, if it's given for the first time, he thanks the previous president, his predecessor. And then in the part denoting the transfer of power, the president names the ceremony, conveys his personal feelings and appreciation to the predecessor. Whereas in the introduction part of the inaugural addresses of Kazakhstani president, there is only greeting the audience and naming the ceremony. In the main body, there is in the inaugural the main body of the inaugural addresses of both countries are the same. So there are references to the past and current situation of the country, challenges that the country has, reminding of the values and ideals of each country, and reminding of the role of the people, of the nation. For example, in case of American inaugural addresses, the role of the American people in the world, the role of the American people within the United States, whereas in Kazakhstani inaugural addresses, reminding the values and ideals of the country for the unification of the nation. And in the conclusion part, the American inaugural addresses have a call for action and a blessing. God bless America, God bless the people of America. And in the conclusion part of the Kazakhstani inaugural addresses, there's a gratitude of the president for the people that elected him and have given him the power of the president. And there is a call for unification always. So these are the main differences. Yeah. The main differences are in the introduction part and in the conclusion part.
Okay, thank you.
And regarding your second question, I would say that inaugural addresses are a part of a highly symbolic moment where the president is given the power to rule the country. So maybe rhetorically they will change, but in general, I think they will stay the same. As for instance, inaugural addresses in American political tradition, it already has 200 years of history, and it's more or less the same. The rhetorics that of course changed due to the political changes in the country. Of course, the medium, how the inaugural addresses are transmitted all over the world with the help of the internet. So in general, I think that the basics will stay the same, but with like tools and different developments in the technologies, yes, it might change.
Бірінші сұрақ, ұлттар сөздеріндегі жалпы негізгі лексикалық ерекшеліктер бар ма? Қазақстан мен ақш президенттерінің сөзінде жалпы сөздік қорында қандай айырмашылықтар ұқсастықтар бар? Екінші сұрақ, жалпы стилистикалық мына жерде мақсатында көрсеткен екенсіз, риторикалық құралдар деп, стилистикалық тәсілдер ретінде метафора, қайталау деген сияқты құралдардың қолданысы осы ұлттар сөздерінде қандай қызмет атқарады, жалпы қалай кездеседі? Және үшінші, мына зерттеу әдістеріңізде сандық талдау әдістерін қолданған екенсіз. Мысалға, бір ұлықтау сөзінде мысалға метафора қанша кездеседі, сондай жиілігін айтып берсеңіз ба?
There are three questions. The first question is about the lexical peculiarities of inaugural addresses. So have you considered the functions of the word stock of the presidents? The second question is related to the stylistic aspect of the rhetorical tools that the presidents used in their speeches. What kind of function do they play? And the third question is related to the quantitative analysis that you've considered in your dissertation. Have you given some kind of analysis related to the frequency of the use of the lexical units like metaphors?
Thank you very much for your question. Of course, there is a difference between the lexical differences between inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States and Kazakhstan. For instance, the use of personal pronouns, as I have mentioned, presidents of the United States use the personal pronoun plural form of the personal pronoun we to inclusively to unite the nation and represent himself as one of the people. So he is not apart from the nation, but is one of them. Whereas the Kazakhstani presidents, they use we more exclusively. So when using the personal pronoun we, the president of Kazakhstan says that the people, he unites the people on Kazakhstan and shows the role, the responsibility, the importance of the people, him excluded. And when talking about their personal obligations, personal responsibilities as the head of the state, they use, for instance, the personal pronoun I. both Kazakhstani and American presidents. Regarding your second question,
метафоралар, қайталаулар, қолдану.
жиілігі ме?
Қандай қызмет атқарады?
The rhetorical devices in general, they are used by the presidents of Kazakhstan and American presidents to increase the persuasiveness of the rhetorical of the inaugural address, for instance, in metaphors, especially antithesis, whereas repetition is used to shorten the speech when he is giving like the concepts that are being repeated. He uses, in order not to use the whole phrase or whole concept again and again, he uses the repetition, like the short versions of the words. Unfortunately, in this study, we haven't looked into the frequency of the metaphors or any other rhetorical devices, but in future works, in future research, we can definitely look into it as well.
Okay, thank you. Next. Next questions. Айдан Иратогу, сізде сұрақ бар ма?
Hocam soru.
Hocam.
Hocam, no.
No questions.
Oyunuz.
Var mı?
Abdurrahman деген. Сол.
Сұрақ жоқ па?
Сұрақ жоқ деді ол кісі.
Жақсы, рахмет. Менде 3 сұрақ бар. What challenge or problems did you face during your research?
The challenges, in the challenges, I would name that, for instance, in the American, when analyzing the American inaugural addresses, it was easy for me to find the original texts of the inaugural addresses, as they have several databases for storing the inaugural addresses of all the presidents. Whereas in Kazakhstan, there is an official website of the president, Akhorda.kz, but unfortunately, as I said, I wasn't able to find the first 3 inaugural addresses of the president of Kazakhstan. So I had to look into look them up in the newspapers that published the inaugural addresses. Unfortunately, and compilations of the speeches. Unfortunately, they were not available in original because, for example, the president delivers the inaugural address both in Kazakh and Russian. But if the newspaper is published in Russian, the whole inaugural address, the whole text is in Russian. If it is also published in the compilation of speeches, again, if the book is published in Russian, it's in Russian. If it is published in Kazakh, it's in Kazakh. So there was a little bit of challenge with finding the speeches because we had to look into archives to see the video footage of the inaugural address so that we have the Kazakh and the Russian to see the Kazakh and Russian proportions of the texts. So that was the biggest challenge, I would say.
Okay, thank you. Second question. Is it possible to use the cognitive mapping method in your research, or it will your perspective study?
Of course, cognitive mapping can easily be used in this kind of research, but in this specific dissertation, we haven't done any cognitive mapping. But for the future research for the articles, maybe we will definitely. I actually have one article where I used kind of a code mapping, but in the dissertation, I haven't included it.
Okay. Because cognitive mapping is very interesting and very unique method in your research. And third question, what really practical meanings of your research?
The practical significance of our research, I would say that it can be used to present guidelines for speechwriters, for political strategists and press services, along with the analysis of the current political rhetoric of Kazakhstan, for instance, to see and understand how political communication works. So I would say that these are the most significant practical importance of the research.
Thank you. What questions? Next questions? Okay, thank you. If there are no questions, the next item is a reading of the reviews by the candidates' domestic scientific advisors, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor Jansit and Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor Eleonora Suleimanova. The floor is given to the academic secretary, Kamar Алдашева. Доброе утро, Eleonora Алексеевна. Доброе утро.
И микрофон отключить.
Хорошо.
With your permission, I will read a short introduction.
Yes.
Review of the scientific supervisor plus dissertation of Әбдіман inaugural address as a part of political discourse submitted for the candidacy of a degree of Doctor of Philosophy degree in 60.02000 for philology. The new applicant has made a commendable and successful effort in a new level of analysis and generalization that aligns with modern movements in world linguistics, aiming to provide a comprehensive overview of the general feature of the inaugural addresses of the presidents of the USA and Kazakhstan. Using the study's object required immersion in a shifting political landscape, the emergence of new theoretics and the new leaders, all of which were reflected in the complex environment of the inauguration ceremony over nearly 30 years. Әбдіман accomplished this without being a political scientist. The degree of relativity, novelty, and both theoretical and practical significance of the conclusions and the scientific provision of Janya Әбдіман's dissertation, titled Inaugural Address as a part of political discourse, submitted for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy degree in 60.2000 foreign theology. These essential requirements impose on works of this nature. Altogether, this service as an objective basis for improving the dissertation of Janya Әбдіман inaugural address as a part of political discourse for defense. Scientific supervisor, Doctor of Philology, Professor of Department Foreign Philology and Translation Studies, Faculty of Philology, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Sweden.
Thank you.
Next
Remark. Full reviews from scientific supervisors are available in documents. Okay, thank you.
Next review of the scientific supervisor for the dissertation of Әбдіман inaugural address as a part of political discourse, submitted for the candidacy of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy degree in 60.02100 foreign philology. Әбдіман. In the past years, my diplomatic service has involved organizing and documenting various state and international events. It was even more rewarding and significant to oversee the PhD dissertation work of Әбдіман, which focused on analyzing the inaugural speeches of the newly elected presidents of the United States and the Republic of Kazakhstan. Inaugural addresses are especially intriguing to linguists due to their classification as a distinct form of political discourse. Sufficient novelty, the relevance of the obtained valid results, the formulated scientific provisions, and the practical value of the work all lead to the conclusion that the doctoral research of Jamia Әбдіман is a thorough qualifying study of a current problem. It demonstrates the necessary level of competence in the field of political linguistics and meets the requirements for a PhD dissertation. I recommend that Jamia Әбдіман's dissertation work be accepted for defense. Scientific supervisor, Doctor of Philology, Professor, Chairman of Board Rector, Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, Tümenbayev Shamsi.
Thank you. Thank you, Kamal Sabingalieva. The next item is the reading of the reviews by the candidate's foreign scientific advisor, Maria Lekic, PhD, Professor, Washington, USA. Yeah, please.
Review. The timelines of Jamia Әбдіман's topics undeniable. This holds true for both American and global linguistics. I believe that the research conducted by Jamia Әбдіман is promising and can be utilized by linguists from various countries. The precedents may change. However, the inaugural addresses remain a consistent ritual in a solemn ceremony. This is a reason for the growing interest in linguistic analysis of the inaugural addresses. The dissertation of Jamia Әбдіман is a qualified study of a current problem. The author demonstrated competence, knowledge of modern literature on the issue and study, and the ability to express her thoughts clearly and consistently. Jamia Әбдімan's dissertation fully meets the requirements for a doctoral dissertation and can be recommended for defense. Foreign scientific supervisor, PhD Professor Maria Lekic.
Thank you, Kamal Sabingalieva. And please, dear members of the Dissertation Council and participants, we now give the floor to the official reviewers. The floor is given to Doctor of Philological Sciences, Professor Aybarsha Islam. Please.
Mr. Chair, members of the Dissertation Council, I have also started critical discourse, namely your speech group from translation perspectives. And it is really great pleasure for me to review the dissertation devoted to the philological aspects of the comparative analysis of the local speech of the United States and the very popular of Kazakhstan. Let me present my official review. The relevance of the topic of the synthesis is being developed as political discourse became one of the integral parts of modern linguistic discourse studies. The inaugural address has not been solidly compared or investigated yet from its socio-cultural perspective, and so the language of political discourse, especially the inaugural address, attracts significant scholarly interest as it figures out the contemporary changes in a society. It reflects the topicality and the importance of the conducting this research. Moreover, the thesis goes in line with the law of Republic of Kazakhstan on science and technology policy, strategic directions for national scientific development, and the concept for the development of language policy in the Republic of Kazakhstan for 2023 to 2029. The research findings make a significant contribution to the further development of political discourse studies, and the thesis definitely exposes the genre, structural modeling, and industrialistic features in an overall presence of the presidents of the United States of America and the Republic of Kazakhstan. The level of self-reliance demonstrated in this research is high, as evidenced by the analytical approach applied to the material, and the inaugural address is determined as a specific genre of political discourse. The relevance of the research topic is justified and undeniable, since the inaugural address has not yet been sufficiently studied in terms of identifying as a distinct genre of political discourse. The content of the thesis reflects the topic of the research, as the presented chapters of the research examine interdependent and the hierarchically structured aspects of the subject under study. The purpose of the objectives of the research are clearly formulated. The aim of the study is to analyze inaugural speech in a comparative perspective. The objective is focused on achieving a goal, dealing such aspects as classification of the definitions of political discourse, exploring its genre diversity, and establishing the rhetorical techniques used in inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States of America and the Republic of Kazakhstan. All sections and provisions of the thesis are logically and cohesively connected in terms of both structure and the content. The critical analysis of existing researches on political communication allows the author to substantiate inaugural address as a unique genre of political discourse and its functions. The method is proposed by the author enabled to identify rhetorical devices as influential and persuasive. The first provision of the research that states inaugural addresses as a unique genre of political discourse is new, as there is no similar attempt in this field to determine its functions in discourse researches. On the basis of comparative analysis of the inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States of America and Kazakhstan, the researcher identified their universal and specific features. The second provision is new, as it shapes ideological statements which are embodied into the content and featured by ritual framework inaugural addresses, and expressed by the means of stylistic devices as pragmatic communicative strategies, encompassing the essence of inaugural speech. The third provision is new, as linguistic features peculiar to the inaugural addresses of the presidents of the USA and Kazakhstan are defined to differentiate from specific conceptual ideas targeting the perception of the addressee due to the current political and social context. The fourth provision is new, as the following discrepancies of the inaugural addresses are defined as noticeable. It highlights differences in perception shaped by culture, worldviews, political and social systems, and religious contexts in inaugural addresses of the CAPET countries. The findings of the thesis are new, based on thorough analysis of existing researches in subject matter. The author of the thesis was able to clearly identify the features specific to the inaugural address and classify the specific genre of the political discourse. The deep content analysis of the inaugural addresses of presidents of the United States of America and the Republic of Kazakhstan has proven that the ideological statements are articulated by appealing to the history as a source of values, unity of the nation, and declaration of the political principles by means of such rhetoric devices as metaphor, repetition, synthesis, and pragmatic intention of using of pronoun we and shifting from individual to collective governance between campaign languages. The technological solutions are new, and there was a precedence and algorithm of uncovering the genre classification functioning of inaugural address. The finding of the research methodologically proved, as they are based on clear understanding of discourse theory, music methods are applicable to the material of the research. The first provision is proven, as it's based on the analysis of political discourse studies developing from its beginning in the ancient Greece times till the present time research is identifying all the aspects. Moreover, They also underlined the differences between broad and narrow understanding of political discourse and its distinct features. Different approaches to the study of political discourse and gender diversity of political discourse in modern linguistics are systematized. The thorough study of this classification of political discourse genre allowed it to determine genre specifications of inaugural address. The second provision is proven. There was a compared the structures of inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States and Kazakhstan, figuring out components like introduction, main body, and the conclusion. She describes each component in terms of linguistic modeling, findings of formal and specific features like appeal to the history, unity of the nation, and declaration of political principles, which are expressed by means of such rhetorical devices as metaphors, parallelism, antithesis, and repetition. The third provision is proven through the results of language analysis and expressed thoughts in inaugural addresses of the presidents in complete countries in study. The analysis of frequently used pronoun "we" expresses two different ideas, particularly in the rights. It is used in addressing the entire nation, while in the Republic of Kazakhstan to emphasize the collective responsibility of the people, which are uncovered thorough its context and pragmatic intention of a speaker. The fourth provision is proven on the basis of content analysis and specific historical patterns, referencing social, political, and cultural differences. All provisions are not trivial, as the inaugural address is validated as a unique genre of political discourse in a comparatively for the first time in Kazakhstani linguistics. On the basis of generic analysis, the inaugural address is considered as a genre of political discourse, and the inaugural addresses of the presidents of the United States, America, and the Republic of Kazakhstan are investigated comparatively. In this regard, the main provisions are assessed as new ones. The theoretical findings of the research are applicable at a wide level to inaugural addresses in any language. The main provisions are validated in articles published on the subject of physics. The choice of methodology is justified by exploring a vast body of scholarly works in the field of political discourse. The findings of the thesis were analyzed by means of discourse analysis, linguistic analysis, comparative and quantitative analysis, etc. The objectives of the given research did not involve the justifications through experimental methods. Key statements are fully supported by references to relevant and reliable academic literature. A detailed review and analysis of the relevant scientific literature allows to achieve the presented results of the research. The theoretical value of the current study could be explained with a definite contribution to the further development of political discourse theory and the theory of genre. As for the practical importance, it should be noted that obtained results could be applied to designing special courses on political discourse analysis, inaugural speech specification, communicative strategies in political speech, and translation issues of political discourse. As the inaugural speech specifications have been under the research for the first time, the practical suggestions are completely new in terms of comparative analysis of inaugural address and the recommendations to the speech writers. The thesis is written in highly proficient academic writing style. Nevertheless, some remarks on the thesis. It would be better to underline theoretical significance of the study more precisely in introduction of the thesis. The second, while the thesis is well written, it contains occasional stylistic inconsistencies, unnecessary capitalization of the word intact, page 15, stylistically inappropriate use of phrase made classification, which is recommended to change formal academically correct version classified. The issued articles are relevant to the topic of the study. The results for the research are highlighted in the publications. Decision. The thesis inaugural address as part of political discourse submitted to the defense is a completed study, and I fully support the conferral of the Doctor of Philosophy PhD degree in 6002-1000 Foreign Philology upon Әбдиман, Жания, former answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, Agbarsha Islamовна. To respond to the review's comments, the floor is given to Abdimon.
Thank you very much for your comments and recommendations. Yes, I agree with you that there are some inconsistencies, like with the capitalization of the word impact and the more appropriate use of classified. If I will have a chance, I will definitely make the changes after the defense. And regarding the, I also agree with you that the significance, the theoretical significance of the work should be more
Enhance it.
enhanced right now. So I believe if we will have the chance, I will, consulting with my scientific supervisors, we will make the necessary changes to that part of this.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Agbarsha Islamовna. No?
Thank you. I thanked her.
Now the floor is given to Doctor of Political Sciences, Professor of the People's Friendship University of Russia, Udanay Maksudovna Bakhtiareva. Okay.
The topic of the thesis, so the first point, the topic of the thesis corresponds to the direction of development of science. And the dissertation work completed in accordance with the state program for the development of education and science of the Republic of Kazakhstan, presenting the government of the Republic of Kazakhstan, dated December 27, 2019, number 938. So point 2, the importance of science. The work makes a significant contribution to science, and its importance is quite good disclosed. The description of the theoretical and methodological basis of the thesis in the first chapter, theoretical background of the research, and the consistent argumentation of the importance of studying the problematic field of the neural features in the subsequent 3 sections. So I'll not list the pages. Are pretty convincing. Undoubtedly, Əbdiman has made a significant contribution to Kazakh humanities and expanded the scientific base of the humanities in science in general too. Point 3, the principle of independence. The level of independence is assessed as quite high. The author of the thesis has demonstrated in analytical skills the ability to critically comprehend the previous experience of understanding the future of an inauguration addresses, their purpose and objective. Əbdiman also showed the ability to deduce new knowledge, which is quite well presented in the summary parts of each chapter and in the conclusion of the thesis itself too. So I will not list the pages, see corresponding pages in the text. Point 4, the principle of unity. The relevance of this thesis is justified. It has been prepared in accordance with current trends in the development of the humanities and social sciences and fits seamlessly into the framework of modern discourse, in particular social and political linguistics. Thus, the thesis can be positioned as an actual subject of both linguistic and social cultural research. The content of the thesis reflects the topic, although as for me, the topic inaugural address as a distinct genre within political discourse seems more relevant. So the purpose and objectives are aimed at revealing the chosen research topic. The 7 main formulated objects are aimed at achieving the purpose, see page 8 and 9. It can be argued that the goal purpose of the study to analyze inaugural addresses as a distant genre with political discourse has been achieved. The logical connection of all paragraphs in 4 chapters is ensured by their consistent disclosure and complementarity. All sections and provisions of this series are logically completely interconnected. The conclusions of each chapter and the final summarizing of the thesis clearly reflect the logic of their authors' works. And point 5. Yeah? The new solutions, principle, methods, recommendations proposed by the author of the thesis are based on a critical analysis of previous researchers. The analysis presented in the thesis does not represent a rewriting of other people's opinions, but is enriched with new meanings and reflects the doctoral student's own position. So, point 5. Scientific novelty principle. From the point of view of revealing the specific of the inaugural addresses of heads of states of the 2 different countries, comparative analysis and identification of common, universal, and specific national ones, the scientific results and provisions seem completely new. The dissertation findings are new. They are very significant not only for Kazakh humanities, but also for others, primarily for post-Soviet states. Technical decisions to solve the tasks and objectives of the study are reasonable, and the vast majority of technical decisions seem to be completely new. Point 6, the validity of the main findings. According to this point, the main conclusion, it should be emphasized that the dissertation relates to qualitative research in the field of languages. So it can be stated that all main conclusions are based on scientifically significant facts and are well reasoned. Point 7, the main provisions for the defense. I believe all 4 key research provisions for defense are proven. The decisive part of these main provisions is based on a critical understanding of previous achievements in the field of political discourse, but it cannot be regarded as trivial in any way. The summarizing part of all the provisions are new and have been convincingly proven. Thus, we believe that the main provisions submitted for defense are proven, have novelty, and are not trivial, but innovative. The level of application is wide, since the findings and conclusions can be used in various fields of knowledge: political science, sociology, cultural studies, social linguistics, political linguistic anthropology. Point 8. The choice of methodology for revealing the topic and achieving the purpose is justified. The reliability of the sources and the information provided is beyond doubt. The sources chosen for the study are closely correlated with the topic of the thesis, and their number is quite sufficient to reveal the topic of the thesis. The text of the analyzed inaugural addresses of the presidents of the 2 countries are given in Appendix A and Appendix B. I will not list the pages. See corresponding pages. Yes, point 8.2. Yes, the results of this series were obtained using modern methods of scientific research and methods of processing and interpreting data using computer technologies, which are relevant to the disclosure of the topic. The theoretical conclusions, models, identified relationships, and patterns have been proven and confirmed more than a decade of experience in studying the topic, I guess, since 2014, as I understand. So, important statements are supported by references to modern and reliable scientific literature. Used literary sources seem to be quite sufficient for a literature review. Point 9, practical value. The thesis has theoretical value. Its theoretical significance is related to its contribution to the study of the essence and characteristics of inaugural addresses as a genre of political discourse. The universal and specific features of the inaugural addresses of the presidents of the two countries in the period from 1991 to 2022, which was faithfully significant for the young independent state, the Republic of Kazakhstan, have been identified. The detailed presentation of the inaugural addresses as an ontologically self-sufficient object of linguistic research and the verification of the well-known scientists from Austria classification of the political fields of inaugural addresses may well be extrapolated to the description of other genres of political discourse. So Janya Abdiman could do such a work, which could be very important from the scientific point of view for researchers, especially from the post-Soviet countries, maybe from the Central Asian countries. So the dissertation has practical significance. There is no doubt that the result. So, dear Chairman, put the question, and you have already answered. But I only can stress that the analytical material is important for the development of courses on political discourse, rhetoric, theory, and practice of intercultural communication, and for practical guides, recommendation for speechwriters, for press services, and for journalists. The practical recommendations seem to be quite completely new, since the topic of the president's inaugural speeches has been studied extremely insufficiently in the Kazakh humanities. Point 10. The text of the thesis shows a fairly high level of proficiency in the scientific style of speech of its author. But point 11, notes on the thesis. Despite the high appreciation of the academic writing of Jania Abdimam, I would like to recommend my young colleague adhere to one style guideline when designing the text of the dissertation, and especially the list of reference. So one of the following style guides should be used, maybe APA, so maybe MLA, or maybe Chicago, etc. A large number of dashes and white spaces in the design of the list of references demonstrates some disregard for the uniform design. The important statements of thesis are supported by references to modern and reliable scientific literature. However, the author of the dissertation work didn't avoid some annoying gaps in the design of the list of references. So, dear colleague Kamar, give me please the dissertation. So, I mean some example. I'll make bookmarks, thank you, so that you can see the design. Maybe they are only unfortunate doubts, annoying doubts. So it used to be good. But see please a list of references, page 178 and 180. Point 12, scientific level of the doctorate students' articles on the topic of research. So I have read only 3 articles. So the first one, интеграционная речь, структурно-композиционное своеобразие жанра на материале интеграционных речей Назарбаев. So published in 2019. And the second one, Әбдиман Жания, inaugural address on the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, 91-2015, published in 2018, and with collaboration with Professor Tunimbayev, inaugural addressing inauguration ceremony. So, based on these articles I have read, I can say that these publications reflect the doctoral students' research program. The logic of the presentation of the content of these articles is closely interrelated with the research topic and the thesis itself. The main provisions and the results of the dissertation work starting from September 2014 were presented and discussed at scientific and methodological seminars and many international conferences and at the meetings of the Department of Foreign Philology and Translation Studies of Al-Farabi Kazakh National University, and published in journals recommended by the Committee for Control in the field of Education and Science of the Ministry of Science of Higher Education in the Republic of Kazakhstan, as well as in a foreign scientific journal. So, point 13. In accordance with the amount of scientific and creative work done, and the findings, conclusions, and the results obtained, Жания Әбдиман deserves to be awarded the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the specialty 6D 21000 Foreign Philology. Thank you.
Thank you, Aldemai Mahmutovna. Nice to meet you in the Dissertation Council in our university. Nice to meet you. To respond to the review's comments, the floor is given to the doctoral candidate, Жания Әбдиман.
Dr. Mahmutovna, thank you very much for your review and for your recommendations. For the recommendation regarding the theme of the thesis, I would like to say that we believe that the current title reflects, so when choosing the title, we wanted to look not only on the genre specifics of the inaugural addresses, but the communicative act of the inaugural address and how it is embedded into the political discourse. So we believe that the current title more accurately captures the aim, the objectives of our comprehensive scope of dissertation in political discourse. So I sincerely appreciate your comment and your contribution to clarifying the scope of our research. And regarding the second recommendation, I would like to, I really appreciate your suggestion to use APA, one of the internationally recognized referencing methods like APA, MLA, and Chicago, because we understand that consistency is important in research and science. But the current dissertation is written with the recommendations of the Ministry of Science and Education that has its own standards for, especially for referencing. So we are not able to use international referencing guidelines like MLA, APA, because Kazakhstan has its own standards. But in our future work, and when publishing our articles in international journals and in publications, we will definitely use one of the international guides for referencing.
Okay, so I'm sorry, despite of, so there are a lot of caches and white spaces that a little bit, there is not so good for the Kazakhstan the Kazakhstan rule to design the dissertation paper, but it's only my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Pitts. Әбдиман кызы. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, we now open the floor for the discussion. Open discussion. Please, sit. Жақсы, жарайды. Айгүл Амирбекова, кандидат of Philological Science, Associate Professor, Ахмет Байтұрсынұлы Institute of Linguistics, Алматы, Қазақстан.
Жания Омарханқызының ұлықтау сөзіне қатысты саяси дискурс аясында зерттеген жұмысы жалпы саяси дискурстың құрылысы мен мазмұнын анықтап берді. Дипломатиялық дискурстан немесе кейде тіпті медиа дискурсқа ұқсастықтары бар ғой, сол ара жігідегі өлшем шарттарын анықтап бергенімен қуантады жұмыс. Сондықтан бұл жұмыс сапалы, жаңалығы көп және қоғамға зор үлес қосатын еңбек деп атауға болады. Бірақ жанияға болашақта бір ұсыныс айтқым келеді. КСРО кезінде, Кеңес одағы кезінде дипломатиялық саяси дискурстар Ресейдің Кеңес одағының қалпында бәріне стандарт болды. 15 одақтас сол деңгеймен келгені байқалады. Бірақ бұған дейін қазақтың саяси дискурсында ұлықтау болды, ханның ақ киізге орап жоғары көтеру, ол біздің ұлттық саяси дискурсымыздағы өлшемдер. Осы кезеңнен басталса, қазақтың саяси дискурсы Абылайдың, Тәуке хан, Кенесары саяси дискурстары зерттелген бір үлкен кітап күтеміз. Ал осы еңбектің өзі жанияға PhD философия докторлық беруге әбден лайықты деп есептеймін.
Рахмет. Рахмет, Айгүл Амирбековна. Альбина Маратханқызы Досанова, доктор PhD.
Құрметті диссертациялық кеңес мүшелері, қонақтар. We warmly congratulate you on a significant event, like a successful defense of your PhD dissertation. This achievement reflects your years of course, years in science, and also dedicated effort and scholarly pursuit. The uniqueness and relevance of today's topic might not only focus on political discourse, it's also about the traditional focuses political discourse, but also in its exploration of theoretical significance, national identity, cultural code. Yeah, you make a comparison in both cultures and tradition and theoretical traditions through the linguistics lens. The comparative analysis of inaugural addresses opens a new perspectives for interdisciplinary research for other scholars, and also opens new perspectives for in the field of linguistic studies. Your research is a meaningful addition to science. And today marks a significant step in your professional and personal development. We congratulate you. And of course, the scientific advisors, Professor Suleimanova Eleonora, Professor Timevaev Jansi, and dear Maria Lekic. We extend our gratitude for your guidance, dedications, and continuous support for our PhD students always. And of course, dear members, dear colleagues, and who are online today with us. We congratulate all of us. And of course, thank you for all of you. And we wish all continued inspiration, creativity, and the new significant achievements. Congratulations. Құтты болсын бүгінгі қорғау. Thank you.
Рахмет. Жақсы. Айдан Ходжам, сізге сөз.
Hello. I also have some comments and I have something to say. Dear esteemed chair, distinguished members of the committee, it's my privilege to provide my evolution of the dissertation submitted by Әбдиман Zania, entitled Inaugural Address as part of Political Discourse for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Foreign Philology. The dissertation presents a rigorous and timely comparative analysis of US and Kazakhstani presidential inaugural addresses, viewed through the lens of political discourse theory. By identifying both universal and nation-specific features, the candidate successfully demonstrates how such speeches function as instruments of legitimacy, national unity, and ideological positioning. So, in my opinion, this work meets all academic and scholarly standards required for the PhD degree. I commend the candidate and fully support the approval of this dissertation. And I just have a suggestion. To further validate the cross-national findings, it might be helpful in the future research to include inaugural addresses from a third political tradition like the EU presidents or East Asian democracy or the Russian democracy may be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Aydan Ingratoglu, for your speech, for your comments. Yes. Yes.
There is a short translation of the first recommendations.
Gulmira Muhammadjan.
Yeah.
Aygul.
Yeah.
Aygul Amirdekova.
So there was expressed such kind of gratitude for your dissertation related to your research as an inaugural address as a part of political discourse, especially when the issue is considered related to the structure and the content of political discourse, some kind of difference and peculiarities that can distinguish political discourse from diplomatic and the media discourses. And it was clearly seen that this very dissertation was considered in the frame of the post-Soviet Union design of political discourse, but nevertheless, there was given a piece of advice which was related to the political discourse that existed in the history of Kazakh Republic, especially among the inaugural ceremonies of Khans. So it would be very valuable in future to consider this very aspect too.
Thank you. Thank you, Gulnaz. Dear colleagues, okay? Dear colleagues, no comments? If there are no comments or opinions, I propose moving to the final stage of the process. According to the established procedure, we shall now proceed to the vote on the dissertation. The floor is given to the academic secretary to explain the voting process.
Dear members of the Dissertation Council and official reviewers, please allow me to explain the voting procedure. The Dissertation Council shall conduct a secret ballot to adopt one of the following decisions. The first to confer the degree of Doctor of Philosophy or Doctor in the profile. The second to return the dissertation for revision. To send the dissertation for the defense. The last to reject the awarding of the PhD or doctor in the profile degree, or to reject to recommendation to the committee to award such a degree. Official reviewers participate in the secret ballot, and their votes are counted equally with the votes of the members of the Dissertation Council. Please be guided by provisions of this standards regulation during the voting process. I kindly ask everyone to turn off their microphones until the secret ballot is completed.
Thank you. Thank you, Kamarsa Gingalina. In accordance with the procedure, we must now establish a counting commission to summarize the results. A proposal has been submitted to form the commission with the following members: Aybarsha Islam, chair of the commission; Aygul Baydibekovna Anapekova, member of the commission; Gulmira Tastimirova Muhamedjanova, member of the commission. Do any of the council members have objections to the composition of this commission? No. No, yes, okay. No objection. Then the counting commission and its chair is approved by consensus. Now we will take a short break for the secret ballot. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, we now resume all the session of the Council. The floor is given to the Chair of the Counting Commission, Aybar Shah Islam, to announce the results of the secret ballot.
Members of the Dissertation Council, let me announce the result. Minutes in the meeting of elected counting commission of the Dissertation Council awarding the degree of Doctor of Law in Educational Program of Linguistics, Foreign Philology, Foreign Language to Foreign Languages, Translation Studies, Ecology at Al-Farabi Kazakh National University. And the elected composition of the counting commission, I'm the head of this commission, Aybar Shah Islam. The commission was formed to count the secret votes of the dissertation submitted by Әбдиман for the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD. The approved composition of the Dissertation Council consists of 9 members. 9 members of the Dissertation Council participated in the debating, including 9 holders of doctoral degrees in the relevant field of the dissertation. Results of the vote on awarding Sirikbayeva Juniya Әбдиман. Why Sirikbayeva?
No. Әбдиман Juniya.
Sirikbayeva on awarding Juniya Әбдиман the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD in specialty 60021000 Foreign Philology, award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD for 9, send the dissertation for revision 0, recommend the dissertation for the redefense 0, refuse to award the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD 0. Chair of the County Commission, Aybar Shah Islam. Commission members, Amirbekova and
Thank you, Aybar Shah Islamovna. Sit down, please. We must now formally approve the decision of the Dissertation Council. I propose putting it to a vote. Who is against? No. Who abstains? Who is in favor? Thank you. All members voted in favor. No voters against. The decision is adopted unanimously based on the results of the dissertation defense. The Dissertation Council unanimously adopts the decision of award Juniya Umurkhan Kızı Әбдиман the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, in the specialty 6D021000 Foreign Philology. Thank you, the members of the Council Commission for the work. Dear colleagues, you have the final statement back in classification codes of the dissertation. The next item of the procedure is the discussion of the draft and the codes. Now we are going to discuss the final statement draft. First paragraph, relevance of the research taught in accordance with paragraphs 2, 5, 6 of the rules for awarding degrees. Maybe in the text? No. Right? Okay, yes. To the following new and reliably substantiated scientific results. results. First, second, third, fourth. Third paragraph, the principle, the internal unity of the dissertation. Okay. Fourth, the principle of scientific novelty of each result, provisions and conclusions of the dissertation. The findings and conclusions obtained in the dissertation can be used in the following areas. Okay. Also, it's right. And let us determine the classification codes of the dissertation. The nature of the dissertation results.
1 and 2.
1 and 2, and 1 and 1. Why? Okay. But
1 and 1.
1 and
1 and 1.
1 and
1.1.
1.1. The level of knowledge of the dissertation results.
2.1.
The value of the dissertation results.
3.1.
3.1. Yes. Correspondence of the dissertation topic to the directions of scientific development and all government programs.
1.
2, yes, 2. 4.2, yes. Okay. The level of implementation use of the dissertation results having practical significance.
2.
5.2. Recommendation for the expanded use of the results of the dissertations that have applied significance.
1.1.
6.1. Okay. Thank you. Dear members of the council, let us proceed to the approval of the final statement and the classification codes. Are there any suggestions? If there are none, appropriate to put it to a vote. Who is against? No.
No.
Who is abstains? Who is in favor? Thank you all. There were no objections. The draft statement is unanimously approved as the basis. Thank you. The floor is given to Әбдиман.
Dear members of the Dissertation Council, dear Chairman, I'm deeply grateful to all of you for your time, attention, and your academic expertise, your feedbacks that will help me, of course, to enhance my future scientific work. In addition, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my scientific supervisors, Eleonora Dusenovna, for her patience most of the time, for her support, and Maria Danilovna for her support and for the knowledge that I was able to get in Washington, D.C., for the opportunity that I had to present on the seminars there in the United States. And of course, my special thanks to my supervisor, Jansi Tinubayev, whose knowledge and practical knowledge of the protocol of the president of the ceremony of inauguration that helped me to understand the ceremony from the inside, I would say. And I would like to thank the official reviewers, Aybarsha Islamovna, Aldana Maksutovna. Thank you very much for your feedbacks, for your recommendations. I hope that in the future I will be able to become one of the scholars that like you, like my scientific supervisors, like the chairman, like all the present here today, so that I will be able to give my professional view on the dissertations of other people, maybe. So thank you. I would like to say the words of appreciation to the head of our department, Malika Muratovna, for her support, and to my all of my colleagues at the department, fellow teachers, and all of the members of the department. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zenya Әбдиман қызы. Өмірхан қызы Әбдиман. Sorry. We wish you success and Нормально говорю. Congratulations. Okay, thank you very much. Dear members of the Dissertation Council, dear colleagues and guests, thank you for your words. The meeting of the Dissertation Council and guests on the defense of the dissertation by Zenya Əbdimən is declared closed. Goodbye. Thank you.